And welcome to another Daily Space Weather. I'm your host, Dan, aka smAsho. Lots of stuff to cover once again here at the Smash News Network. Looking at the sun here at 193 angstroms, we see a couple more coronal holes trailing this active region here. And you see these two eye-like coronal holes popping up, making your October extra spooky. Please leave a comment if you're scared and spooked. Now we've got some custom Helio viewer movies coming for you in a moment. It's coming for you, folks. It's coming for you. Oh my God. Oh my Godness, good graciousness. So we see this massive filament here in between this active region and over here. It's stretching across this whole area. And I'll let that play for a moment, and I'll vanish. By the way, it's this active region has now formed into an H, an indication that yes, indeed, hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, is kind of important. Although this 304 angstroms helioviewer video is an ionized state of helium, not of hydrogen. In any case, great view of that plage there, as well as that filament, which is holding steady so far. And here's the same area in 171 angstroms. And this is an ionized spectral state of iron. And since the most activity was going on in the northern hemisphere, we decided to use it for our daily space weather coverage. And let's get on to some regular old everyday data. And allow me to reappear. All right. So the 10.7 centimeter radial flux is still at 73 solar flux units. And by the way, that's basically just an arbitrary measurement, which was probably obtained when they decided to try to get a baseline reading of the radial flux and realized that it varies over 11 years like the sunspot cycle. Here's a graph of the last 3 years approximately, and we've been over 70 for a smooth monthly value here for a while. Expect to see, oh, and indeed we see the line drawn in there above 70. We've seen some geomagnetic unrest and some geomagnetic storms in the past couple of days, currently at a KP of 3. It's in the green. And the radio flux, the X-ray flux rather, as you can see here, fairly flatline, no solar flaring, and no major proton strikes. We did see a big decrease in the solar wind here over a short period of time in between about 1,500 and 1,900 hours yesterday, a precipitous downturn, like a break in the signal from the solar wind density. Check it out. Saw readings as low as half a proton per cubic centimeter, 0.47. So in any case, the phi angle's been shifting around a lot over the past 24 hours as well. You can see this spiky graph here, and so current solar wind back up to 7.5 approximately. And the solar wind speed remains elevated at 512 kilometers a second. Here's what's going on in the magnetosphere according to the space weather modeling framework. We're looking at hydrodynamic pressure here measured in nanopascals. And you're looking at two different planes here as if flipped 90 degrees. One is if you're looking down on the planet, and one is if you're looking from the side of the planet, I guess you could say. And that's a little calmer than it was, but we've got a lot of electrons out there, so there's a lot of charge to create multiple double layers out here in the magnetosphere. And you see a little bit of it there. You can see multiple plasma spheres. They're quite tight to the planet. We don't see a whole lot of induction right now in the power grid, as we're not experiencing geomagnetic unrest or storm conditions. Here are the ground magnetic perturbations. And I'm going to actually move that tab, the one with the U.S. power grid induction scenario. Here are the ground-based magnetic perturbations, and about what you would expect to see there. There's your 3 days of GOES magnetometer data. And I believe we are solidly in the South Pole oriented current sheet. The portion of the current sheet, or I guess you could say the current sheet associated with the South Solar Polar Field, shown here in red. Here's the top view ecliptic plane field plot. And no surprises there. We didn't see readings as weak as I thought here for the past 24, an indication that the South Solar Polar Field's a little stronger than I expected, which is probably a good thing as the sun ramps up toward solar maximum. Keep in mind the data is about 2 hours old and can suddenly change. Here's a different view, the line of sight field plot, which shows you the B field also, shown in blue. Nothing to write home about there, no major changes in the B field orientation. And here's the coronal magnetic field plot. It'll show you open potential field force lines in black, closed potential field force lines in pink, and coronal hole potential field force lines in purple. Now today's Smash Lights segment here at the Smash News Network is not going to be included in the daily space weather video. We talked about scams, otherwise known as confidence tricks, misleading shareholders, and a little bit of information about the contributions of big tech, a little bit of information about, well, you know, I think you probably know all about that if you're a regular viewer, and you probably are. And there have been some issues, but in any case, if you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe on YouTube. Visit our links, maybe become a Patreon, maybe check out some merch, smashomash.org, and so on. Don't forget to check us out on BitChute as well, bitchute.com/smashomash, and we'll have more exclusive content there in the future. No surprises there. Yeah, we're not controversial on purpose. It's just because we are elicited to talk about certain things because of the state of affairs. So we're not always covering things that we want to cover, but we're encouraged by things beyond our control. So we do stream live most days to Twitch. We're at twitch.tv/smashomash. It's such a great platform. I don't care how much Amazon contributes to political campaigns through political action committees. Yes. I talked about COVID, and I talked about some other stuff, and I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that. I'm not going to talk Supreme Courts. I'm not going to talk about Trump having COVID. I won't even talk about cosmic rays on the Smash Lights, or at least not on the Daily Space Weather. And what's on the Smash Lights, you have to go find out yourself. The Daily Space Weather's just got more data about things like the electron flux. Yes, you must have the electron flux. There's your 1-year graph, and we're approaching levels we haven't seen for almost exactly a year. Coincidence? Maybe. We do see a bunch of charging hazards, as there are a lot of electrons out there. The forecast from NOAA is that it's finally going to level out, and the Smash News Network would tend to agree. Smash News Network, the least busted name in news. And we've been in solid electron storm territory for a long time here. So if you see problems with things like your GPS, communication problems, and so on continuing, despite the geomagnetic unrest ended, That's got to do with it if you're communicating with satellites. A very high electron flux can mess with your communications. So here's a visualization of that entire air column, in between which you would have to send a signal back and forth between a GPS satellite and so on, or receive a signal from a GPS satellite in the case of GPS. Nothing to write home about there, but we do see some significant charge ups around the equator. Significant levels of electron flux. Next, we're going to look at just one layer here. This is just the ionosphere layer as opposed to the entire air column. And that's 24 hours of data courtesy of Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. The ionosphere is looking pretty normal here to me. Here's the latest image coming in at 9 o'clock Universal Time. Now, I like to use in-the-sky.org for my star charts. If you're up before dawn, you may see Mars, the Moon, and Venus. And, yeah. Did you enjoy the harvest moon? Did you go harvest? I barely grow anything outside, so I didn't have to harvest anything because everything I grow outside seems to get destroyed by some sort of physical destruction factors. There's where things will be in a week. Please let us know if you see something scary and spooky. Maybe a Dorito-shaped. All right, not quite Dorito-shaped. If you see a Dorito-shaped pattern in the solar system, please leave us a comment and let us know how scared you are that Nibiru is going to peek out from behind the sun. Now, I've been stating in my video titles for the past couple of days that the earthquake risk is up. Because after all that geomagnetic unrest, if you're in these areas, you are still in an earthquake risk. And it all has to do with solar protons, folks. We just received lots of solar protons. And if you're in these areas, those could induce earthquakes in a sort of a 24-hour delayed fashion. There's only a 1 in 100,000 chance that an influx of protons will not cause earthquake increase. And I believe it's the difference, not the actual number. And since we're coming off a solar minimum, it's a high proportional number of incoming protons. I don't think these earthquakes that have happened in the past couple days are the main event. We've had a 7, 8, and 9 magnitude earthquake drought over the past, well, couple of years, really. Anyway, let's go up the list. We did see a 5.2 in the Aleutians and a 6.0 at Papua New Guinea. Now, for those of you who use Global Incident Map, I do like Global Incident Map. I like the way it displays things, but because of the interactivity of the videos, we need to use USGS. Anyway, that's a deep quake at Papua New Guinea. It's over 100 kilometers. If that happened at the surface, it would be like a 6.4 magnitude quake. That quake at Greece, that 5.1, was also a deep quake at 151 kilometers. Here's another deep quake at Fiji, a 4.5, and another 4.5, one at 500 kilometers and one at nearly 600 kilometers depth. A significant earthquake swarm is striking California. Maybe I should actually include that region in my warnings as well as the San Andreas fault. And other faults associated with that area can cause some destruction to the U.S. Also, we see a deep quake in Indonesia. So major deep quake event here, folks. Lots of deep quakes happening all in the past 24 hours. And lots of quakes in general, but no big ones. So it looks like a warning to me that a big quake is going to happen somewhere. We see some quakes on Hawaii. And next we'll do the volcano rundown of the past 24 hours here at Volcano Discovery. And we see some new entries on this list as well, such as Kluchevskoye now back on the list. Flight level 170, it's producing a 17,000-foot ash plume. Suwanosejima, also exploding, 6,000-foot ash plume. Semeru, flight level 130, 13,000-foot ash plume. Dakono, flight level 7,000 feet there is the altitude of the ash plume. Popocatépetl, back on the list, exploding. 21,000-foot ash plume, Sangay exploding, 22,000-foot ash plume, Revenador exploding, 15,000-foot ash plume, and Sabancaya exploding, 24,000-foot ash plume. Please leave a comment if you think you've calculated the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere and the human contribution. Yeah, volcanoes are big. Volcanoes erupt bigly, okay? We've got some freeze warnings and some frost advisories over the entire north central plains. Check it out. The jet stream is pushing some frigid air. Not the fridges. Not the fridges and freezers. I'm talking about frigid air from central Canada. Here are the jet streams of the eastern world. Here are the jet streams of the western world. Let's get this thing moving. We've got more meteorology stuff to go. We've got some odd jet stream behaviors. And look, we found a Dorito-shaped triangle right here, an indication that Frito-Lay has taken over the North Atlantic. Look for giant bags of Doritos in your Halloween candy. If you are allowed to go trick-or-treat, please leave us a comment if you are still allowed to breathe where you are located. Next, shout out to our African and European viewers. Here are your water vapor maps. Shout out to our Far Eastern and viewers from UNDA. There are your water vapor maps. And by the way, the reason I scroll down every day is so you can see the date stamps, so you know they're the legit dates. Here's the water vapor situation for the Americas, and here's me vanishing back into the woodwork of the Smash News Network. Here are the pressure cells on windy.com. By the way, I use their mobile app regularly, and I'm going to show you some funk here in a minute, some serious funk that I found. We're advancing this into the GFS forecast. There's where we expect pressure cells to be at 12 noon my time tomorrow, and I'm located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to show you some oddities here in the weather radar. And no, I don't want my weather app to make sounds. We see some very funky weather formations here. Some very questionable data. So now we're going to have viewers that are going to say, oh my God, it's HARP. It's got to be HARP. But let me just allow that to animate there for a minute. So check out the weird Doppler radar maps. Now obviously this sawtooth looking line here going right across Pennsylvania is obviously some sort of measuring error where two Doppler radars are not correctly measuring, and we've probably got a bunch of measuring errors all over there. But check out these lines here. We've got all these parallel lines. This overall system is on that same line, this line here, as well as these like odd little regions. Now these are probably individual radars. This is certainly a radar cutoff line here. But I just wanted to show you what was going on here because I can't look at everybody's weather. If we get folks who show up in the chat and they say, hey, what's the weather where I'm at? I will hook you up, but normally I don't do that because it's a lot of work. And part of the reason that I'm a meteorologist is because of being a cyclist. I wanted to know how to forecast the weather on the other side of the mountain, just in case I could ride there without getting rained on, which has happened, by the way. So yeah, we see a bunch of measuring problems here, and this has probably just got to do with tuning of Doppler radars, but we also see these things up here, and these things are not imagination. Those are legit. So some very odd scenarios going up there, and let's just take a look at the satellite to show you how weird this is. Just turn on the satellite image. This will give you some idea of the way the clouds are moving, at least, and they're moving in a northeasterly fashion. Anyway, let's move on to more weather stuff here. And this is the reason why we tell you to go look at thunderstorms. This one's on spaceweather.com, and Christoph Suarez was getting a getting a load of some thunderstorms, and you got a load of sprites and ghosts and jellyfishes up there above the thunderstorm. And this is part of the reason why I tell you to go out and look at a thunderstorm. If it's like 50 kilometers away, it's a perfect distance to go out and look above a thunderstorm. Take time-lapse photography of it, and you may find something interesting up there. We've been documenting the Caribbean lightning, which has been going on for days. Here it is once again. And here you can see it on the NASA GOES 16 lightning mapper. I decided to zoom out this time and show the full Americas region. There you can see Florida is indeed surrounded by the Smash News Network. Just kidding, folks. I'd be surprised if they're even able to see the videos down there. No, just kidding, folks. And we're getting rained on here in Pennsylvania. And you can see the jet stream pulling and pushing. It's pushing over here and it's pulling over here. Did you know? Yes, it creates a low pressure system behind it, like a guy riding a bicycle. And I'm going to actually zoom in on myself for once, as I often know more about what's going on in space than I do about what's going on in my own weather. It all depends on if I'm going to ride a bike or not, folks. Anyway, there is the Mid-Atlantic scenario. We've got some high pressure air is going to force all that moisture out. Looks like pretty quickly to me. And hey, Smash team, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the merch. Don't forget to check out smashomash.com/forum. We've announced our October contest. And you can sign up for free. You might win a free shirt. We're going to use quantum random number generation. Of course, we'll do it live. So we've decided to give away a free shirt in October. All you've got to do is sign up on forum, type the word sign me up, and by Halloween we'll have rolled out who has won a free shirt, whether it's Kalo Jan or Aetheris or Bestoic. We'll get that going. And more details about that later. We have not yet even created the design that will be released, and we're going to release a design before it's even able to be sold. So it'll be already sent out before it's publicly visible. Now, consider becoming a patron if you'd like to fund us that way. We'd greatly appreciate it. It's patreon.com/smashomash, the true source of funding for the content. Thanks to our patrons, we've redone the credit crawl as we do every second of every month. So after the payments come in for the month, we change the credit crawl around to reflect the lifetime contributions of all of our active patrons. So if you were active last month but not this month, you will not appear on the list. Thanks again to our patrons, patreon.com. Today's featured shirt is the All Things Matter Black. And our future designs expect to see more color-based designs. This one is only available in black. And it all has to do with the design being the color of the shirt or something like that. You can link to all of that stuff at smashomash.org, which will redirect you to smashomash.com. 100% satisfaction guaranteed on the Teespring products. So click those links if you haven't seen it. We've lost one of our shirts. The Google is a scam, not a verb shirt is now gone because there are content issues. We'll talk about that at a later time. Also, if you head to smashomash.org, you will also see a link to our affiliate. See that? Affiliate. smashomash.com/affiliate. We've added some items. The Coleman's mustard, which is a dry mustard powder that we will release recipes with later. The vitamin E, the vitamin C, and today's featured item, the Misto brushed aluminum oil sprayer. Yes, you just take your olive oil, you fill this about halfway because you need room for the air pressure. You pump it up, you tighten it up, you pump it up, you spray olive oil on things that you would cook in things like your air fryer, for instance, right? So if you don't own one of these, You probably should. And you can put whatever kind of oil you want in there. Keep in mind, oil viscosity may be an issue. And you can link to that without having to do a whole search on Amazon at smashomash.com/affiliate. By the way, thanks for flying American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. As here at the Smash News Network, we typically always have bonus features. Today's will include a 94 angstroms SDO video of the 48-hour variety. It'll include a colorized magnetogram and an intensitygram, because those are the definitive ways that we're able to see if there are sunspots. And pardon all my keystroking. I'm stroking keys. Pardon my stroking of said keys. All right. And we see a few areas of magnetic organization happening here. This plage here, which is now shaped like an H, telling everybody that it's made of liquid metallic hydrogen. And 1, 2, 3, 4 small, I'll say 3 small active regions. There we go. 3 small active regions. Places to keep an eye on. And when I say eye on, oh, well, the pun is intentional. There are no sunspots, by the way. And there's your sunspotless view. And here's 94 angstroms. It's a 48-hour SDO video. Here's me vanishing and wishing you a delightful day. May that solar wind be at your back and that covidiously absent. From your multiverse. And no, the sun's rotation did not speed up. It was some missing data, probably from a CCD bakeout, which is when the charge couple device turns off so it does not take damage.